अथ पञ्चमोऽध्यायः अर्जुन उवाच सन्न्यासां कर्मणां कृष्ण पुनर्योगं च शंससि यच्छर्ययेतयोरेकं तन्मे ब्रूहि सुनिश्चितम्. Arjuna said, O Krishna, first of all you ask me to renounce work, and then again you recommend work with devotion. Now will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is beneficial? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasa karma yogascha nishreyasa karavuvo tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. The personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. Gneyasya nitya sannyasi yo na dvesti na kankshati nirdvando hi mahabahu sukham bandhat pramuchyate. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is said to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated, O mighty armed Arjuna. Sankhya yoga pruthag balaha pravadanti na panditaha ekamaptyastitaha samyuga yubhayor vindhate phalam. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, namely karma yoga, as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both. Yet Sankheya prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate ekam sankhyan cha yogam cha ya pashyati sa pashyati. One who knows the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level sees things as they are. Sannyasastu mahabahu dukkhamaptuma yogataha yoga yukto munir brahma nachirenadhigacchati. Merely renouncing all activities, yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma bhutatma kuruvannapi alipyate. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and sense, is dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto मन्येत तत्त्ववित् पश्यन् शृण्वन् हृशान् जिघ्रन् अश्चन् गश्चन् स्वपन् श्वसन् प्रलपन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् उन्मिषन् मिनिषन्वपि इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्त इति धारयन्. A person in divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. Brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyatva karoti yaha lipyatena sapapena padmapatramivambhasa. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results on to the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalair indriyerapi yogina karma kuruvanti sangam tattvatma shuddhaye. The yogis, abandoning attachment, act with body, mind and intelligence and even with senses only for the purpose of purification. Yukta karma phalam tyaktva shantimapnoti naishtikim ayukta kamakarena phalesakto nibhadyate. The steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the results of all activities to me. Whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste susukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. Nakartutvam nakarmani lokascha srujati prabhu nakarma phala samyogam swabhavastu pravartate. The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. Nadatte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukrutam vibhuhu ajnanena vrutam jnanam tena muyyanti jantavaha. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. Jnanena tutagñanam isham nashmitamatmanaha tesham aditya vajñanam prakashayati tatparam. When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nescience is destroyed. Then his knowledge reveals everything, as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. Tadbuddhayastadaatmanas tannishtastatparayanaya gachyantya punaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. When one's intelligence, mind, faith and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shunishaiva shvapakecha panditaha samadarshinaha. The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, or a dog eater. Ihaiva tairjita sargaha isham samye stitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmad brahmani te stitaha. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. Na pravrusyet priyam prapta nodvijet prapya cha priyam tira buddhira sammudaha brahmavid brahmani stitaha. A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the signs of God, is already situated in transcendence. Bhashya parshveshva saktatma vindatyatmani yat sukham sabbrahma yoga yuktatma sukhamakshayam. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Yehi samsparshaja bhogaha dukkayonaya evate adyanta vantha kaunteya nate shuramate buddhaha. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery which are due to contact with material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. Shaknoti haiva yas sodum praksharira vimokshanat kama krodha bhavam vegam sayukta sukhi naraha. Before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the forces of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world. Yontha sukonthara ramas tatantar jyotirevayaha sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhutodhigacchati. One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme and ultimately he attains the Supreme. Labhante Brahma Nirvanam Rushayakshina Kalmashaha Chinna Dvaidhayatatmanaha Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. Kama Krodha Vimuktanam Yatinam Yatachetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. Parshan krutva bahirbayam chakshushchaivantare bruhu pranapanav samukrutva nasabhyantaracharinau itendriya mano buddhir munir moksha parayanaha vigate cha bhaya krodho yassada mukta eva saha. Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils, and thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence, the transcendentalist, aiming at liberation, becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhrudam sarvabhutanam gnatva mam shanti mruchyati. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Om Tat Sadidi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyaya Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Panchamodhyaya.